for the Gateway Pundit. Yes, indeed, people. Jimmy Hoft. Oh, yeah. How you doing, buddy?
Good morning, Jamie. Doing well.
So,
Happy President's Day.
Yes, and to you, too. And it's interesting. I've been trying to follow up on this Parkland thing. I noticed a article that is written actually by Kevin Williamson in the National Review, who is a reprehensible individual, by the way,
Right.
on pretty much all levels. He's one of these never Trump, but he's worse than that. He hates his mother, and he's overall just a one of the most reprehensible never Trumpers out there. But he did write an article that actually sounded reasonable, which was about firing the FBI chief. Because it's so clear that these guys have really dropped the ball. I mean, I don't want to simply blame them for the shooting any more than I would blame gun owners for the shooting. But it seems to me that they were alerted to this guy and then kind of just dropped the ball. And you look back on things, you're like, wait a minute, this is an organization that seemingly can pretty much trace anybody and does, and had all the tools available to them, but somehow weren't able to grab this one.
Absolutely. And I think it's worse than that, Jamie, because their first announcement after the shooting was that we did some research, but we couldn't find him. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. And everybody after that's like, wait a minute, he used his real name. How could you not find the guy? He also had an Instagram account. He used his real name there with pictures of him shooting guns and, looking crazy. And he had a Facebook account. So they just didn't look. And somebody did drop the ball. So they weren't even honest. And I think that's what bothers a lot of people, too. I have a story up on Gateway Pundit where something similar happened when the Boston bombing at the Boston Marathon occurred. And the two brothers there, they were warned that Russia warned the U.S. about this guy because he was going to Dagestan and to a training camp, and FBI did nothing. In fact, it took them 3 days to find out who did it. They already had been warned about this guy. He was living in Boston. They didn't even think to check on him.
Too bad their names weren't mentioned in the anti-Trump dossier. Maybe then that would have gotten their attention.
Right.
But
yeah.
I love this line, which is really harsh, but it's important. We would replace these guys with trained monkeys if we could train monkeys to be self-important. I'm like, wow, that's like radical, but still, it's totally true.
Ouch.
This is very interesting to development, but again, it's not necessarily their fault that this all happened, because I'm kind of a little tired of all the finger pointing we're seeing, especially at gun owners and beyond. And Trump goes down there, visits these people. All they do is say, "Well, look at him. He's thanking first responders, ignoring the victims." Well, there are pictures all over the place of him,
right.
of him with people in hospital rooms, but they ignore that.
Well, and not just that. If he would have showed those pictures, they would have said, "See, this guy's just about himself."
Yeah, no doubt about
not
it.
Not respecting the injured.
So I understand too that President Trump now has all the things out on President Obama in dealing with the Iran deal. I'm glad he's starting to get a little bit of moxie here when it comes to touching the untouchable, and that would be who. So I'm glad he's doing that. Obama said that story up there. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, good for Trump. Yesterday he was on a tweet storm, by the way, and a lot of his supporters, including myself, enjoy it when he goes on a tirade like this. He was hitting everyone. Obama took a lick there, and he was right to point out that what the hell was Obama giving $1.7 billion cash bribe to the Iranian regime. And, of course, this never gets any press. And so he just reminded the public again that what happened when Obama was in charge and they're bribing the regime for, and we know the money now went to some terrorist groups. So
wow,
good for Trump for pointing it out.
No doubt.
Such a ridiculous decision.
Well, good for you, man. It's all up there at the Gateway Pundit site, thegatoypundit.com. Appreciate you as always, man.